Hi, I'm Adam Lane Smith, and today I'm going to teach you how to break up with a friend. This is a really hard topic. I should do a whole separate video on when to break up with a friend, and maybe I'll talk about that in here, actually, because that's pretty important. How do you know when it's time to break up with a friend, and how does that segue straight into breaking up with them? First of all, when do you break up with a friend? You break up with a friend when you find that they make your life worse. I hate the word toxic, but when they are toxic, what does toxic mean? Toxic means they act to bring out the worst qualities in you, and they use that to benefit themselves in some way. They pressure you to avoid or completely throw away your principles. They pressure you to be worse than you are. They try to stop you when you try to get better. This is when you should break up with a friend. When your not shared goals, when your fundamental goals are opposite. You want to raise a healthy family. They want to have fun at any cost. You have certain specific principles: honor, integrity, compassion, courage, total honesty. They don't want those. They are wrapped up in fear, and they violate those principles that are so important to you over and over. They make things worse in your life when you try to stop them or correct them. And hopefully, if you're going to break up with that friend, you've tried. When you try to correct them, they deflect, they push away, then they get mad, they get defensive, they make it your problem. They have so many excuses. And the more you push, the madder they get. They don't want to get better. They don't want to. And it's costing you something. And you've shared that with them. And they don't want to get better. And they don't even want to stop costing you anything. It's your problem. Or they're just giving up. They say, yeah, I know, but what can I do about it? Depression is one thing. And I don't know that breaking up with someone over depression is useful. But when it's costing you something and eating you alive, when it's making your life worse, when being around them makes you a worse person, and you've tried everything you can from your end to stop that, and they're okay with it, and they don't care. When their fundamental goals conflict with yours, when your principles conflict, when they try to get you to violate those principles, it's probably time to break up. And the best way to do that is to be honest. Because here's what happens. If you just ghost them, they will always try to reconnect with you. And you won't really respect yourself. And you will always be waiting for them to try to reconnect with you. And always waiting for them, and always waiting, and always hoping you don't run into them. Because you haven't explained. You will live in fear of having to explain. My encouragement is don't do this. Because they'll also talk about you to other people in your circles. And everyone else will say, you are the problem. Because you kind of are. It also means you're not taking whatever the problem is seriously, because you're just running away. So if you're going to break up with someone that you've had a relationship with, do you care about them? Breaking up with them really is one of two things, and it can be two at the same time. One is to preserve yourself and what is important to you, and the second is to give them a chance through this pain to have an urgency to grow. Breaking up with someone is really saying, you are not who you should be. Here is enough pain to show you that there's a consequence for how you're living. You can break up with someone out of love. You can break up with a friend, even a family member. Sometimes it is, you are so horrible and manipulative, I cannot have you around me or my children. Get away from me and don't ever come near me again. But that is still giving them a chance through the consequences to hopefully maybe someday change. So it can be both. So, not just ghosting and running away, but having that conversation and that confrontation. How do you do that? You note the places that I just said. Our fundamental goals are opposed to each other. We can't even have a basic conversation about the things that matter because we don't agree on what matters. And we don't even share principles. And you break those principles that are important to me over and over and over. And I can't live that way. And you encourage me to break those principles. And you complain when I don't. I cannot live that way. I cannot be near you. That is your decision. I cannot follow you in that. It does not have to be you are a bad person. It can be your principles and mine are completely opposed. Our goals are completely opposed. And one of us must give in to the other one for us to have shared time. One of us must violate what's important to us for us to even be together, to even have a conversation beyond politeness. We have to violate our principles, and I am not willing to do that. And I am not going to ask you to do that because that is not friendship. And when I've tried to talk to you about my principles, you laugh at them, or you don't take them well, you get defensive, you get angry. I cannot handle this anymore. Now you can do this face to face. Painful, but you can. You may find that the conversation you have while breaking up with that person might be the final straw where they actually start to change. Maybe they have an addiction that you just can't deal with anymore. And you breaking up with them is the final consequence if you're not enabling them anymore. A lot of marriage divorces actually lead to marriage renewals, because through the divorce process, it's finally made apparent how serious the problems are. So they separate, they fix them, and they get back together. That does happen. Friendships can be the same. By doing this, you are actually giving the person the best chance for their life and the best chance for your friendship to eventually work out by breaking up. So don't say you are human garbage and I hope that you die. Lay out the complaints you have and how they are fundamentally opposed to your goals and your principles, and how even sharing space requires you to risk violating those things, and you cannot. And that sounds like saying the other person's a bad person, but there is a crucial difference there. Because you're not saying you're a bad person and I hate you. You're saying being close to you violates what is most important to me, and I cannot do that, so I must choose these things over you. The crucial piece is this. They can't say, well, you're a piece of garbage for doing this and I hate you, because you can say in your heart, even if you're not saying it to them, I'm not doing this because I hate this person. I'm doing this for my principles. At the end of the day, you can't be mad at yourself for having principles. At the end of the day, if it's a choice between that friend and your heart, and your heart that goes into your goals and your principles, and they are that important to you, you can't regret it. You can live without regret if you break up with that friend. And if they fix themselves later, you are a beacon as an example of, this is a person of principle who even broke up with me for principle. So either they can come back when they have fixed it, or they can remember you for the rest of their life. And you shutting off these bad relationships for principles and goals makes you really attractive to healthy people, because it's costing you something. Your principles and goals are now costing you something. People will respect you more, the healthy people, and you'll grow closer to the healthy people who see the circumstance. They'll want you more because now it has cost you something to have your principles and goals and values. This is how you break up with a friend, is by making it about your goals and your values and your principles, and how they force you to violate those, or try to force you to violate those, or how the circumstance does it. And you can even lay out, this is what it would take for us to maintain or repair our relationship. If you are willing to do that and take concrete steps to do that, then talk to me then. But until then, we cannot be friends. People can get mad at you over personal things, but rational people cannot be mad at you for having goals and principles and sticking by them. A rational person would say, no, you're living your life right. You're doing that right. Let me change my crap because you're right. Mine is unacceptable. And then would follow it up with action. If you're going to break up with someone, actually break up with them. You can provide a way back if they provide concrete steps that they have taken, not words. If you're going to break up with someone, make it final. Make it so that they would have to be a different person. And it would have to be a new relationship if they changed in the future. That's what it would take. If you're going to break up, really break up. This is how you break up, not only with friends, but family, even romantic partners. Because if your goals are opposed and your principles are opposed, you cannot be together. You can't really support each other. In fact, you'll be rooting for the other person to fail so that they'll someday agree with you. You can't really live that way. You can point all of that out. And a rational human being would say, dang, you're right. I hate it, but you're right. An irrational, broken, horrible person who hates you, not that broken people are horrible, but a totally irrational, toxic, vengeful, spiteful, destructive person will rage at you for all of this. And in reality, that might be why you're breaking up with them. This will confirm for you that you're making the right choice. Because by saying my principles and goals have to be destroyed for me to be friends with you, then destroy them. Well, you can't. That makes the choice really clear. In that case, all of this will reaffirm your decision to break up with them. Romantic partners too. This is how you break up effectively, without regret, provide yourself the most safety and coverage, and give the other person the best opportunity to become a better person. This is how you do it right here. So if there's someone in your life you need to break up with, give this a shot. Thank you for watching. I'm Adam Lane Smith, attachment specialist, and now apparently detachment specialist. If this has been helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel. Maybe don't just send this video to someone and say, hey, I'm doing this for you, goodbye. Maybe actually apply it. But hopefully that could be helpful. Thank you. Thank you for watching.